Hello.
Hey, Dale, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, I can see you, and I really appreciate your background. That's kind of cutting to the chase there because first and foremost, we are here to talk about Five-Legged Dog.
Right on. See, I'm a professional. I'm a professional.
We can also talk about Rat-A-Tat, but first we'll talk about Five-Legged Dog. When did you start the album?
About a year ago, I think. Yeah, probably right after summer last year. I guess we finally felt it was safe enough to kind of get together and get in the studio and do something. Yeah, it had been about 6 months since we'd really gotten together, and we had to be careful. We all wore masks and stuff like that, and try to do stuff. Spend a couple hours a day rather than like all of us being in the same room for 10 hours a day. We would do a couple days, do a song or two, and call it a day. It seemed like it didn't take so long. After a while, it's like, oh, we've got like 35 songs. I'm like, what? Really? Didn't seem like it. So, yeah, it seemed to go rather quickly. In fact, I barely remember doing it at all at this point. It seems so long ago.
Did you make it and then give it to Ipecac and shop it around, or did they know outright, hey, this is going to be for our label?
Yeah, I think we told them what we wanted to do, which is usually the case. I mean, even when we first signed with them, we're like, okay, so we got this idea where we want to do 3 records and space them, have one come out and then the next one come out a couple months later and then a couple months later. And so when we had that idea before when we were shopping for a label, and they were the only ones that were like, sounds great. So, yeah, I mean, they have enough trust in us now too, to where they let us do our thing, and and then once we turned it in, I got a call from Greg Workman, who's the other half of the label with Mike Patton, just saying how great he thought it was. Surprising, because it's it's different. We spent a lot of time on vocals and things like that, and also I just think expecting a song like Hung Bunny, Roman Dogberg, an acoustic version, it's like, how'd you do that? We were kind of wondering the same thing, but then once we started doing it, it seemed like, oh yeah, it works just fine.
It's a great listen for me. I think it's very interesting overall in that even if these are old songs and there's some covers in there, I think that you found some new harmonies and melodies from the original tracks that you may not have known were there in the first place.
Right. Yeah. And just reworking them a different way too, and then some of the songs just naturally changed over the years playing them live. So I'm sure they'll sound different. So, but yeah, I think people hopefully they'll be happy with it.
And then the choice in covers, we hear songs by Alice Cooper, The Turtles, Brainiac, Fred Neil, Free. I've always known that you guys were Kiss fans based on not just opening the shows, but the solo album homages that were done, things of that nature. It's not easy for me to tell, do the Melvins like this band or hate this band? It's one of the most unpredictable musical tastes that you and Buzz have. But it seems like if it happened in the 60s and it was edgy, you guys like it.
Probably, yeah. Like the Jimi Hendrix Experience, there's one that doesn't get tossed around by us too often, but I was actually listening to some stuff in the car today and just thinking like, oh yeah, these guys have been a huge influence on us for sure. That's the one band people always say like, oh, if there was one band that you could go back in time and see, who would it be? And for me, I think it'd be Hendrix, the Experience for sure. But yeah, we've always flown the Kiss flag, even when it was very unpopular.
Yeah.
When I joined the band, those guys were still in a Kiss, and I was like, oh, and I'd kind of forgotten like how good those songs were, just because at that point I kind of moved on and was, listening to Priest and Maiden.
Which I still listen to all the time. I think that there's no shame in great choruses, great riffs, etc. And so much of that is better than what made it onto the radio in the 90s and the 2000s per se. But when did you lose touch with mainstream rock? Do you remember a particular era?
I mean, it was pretty much right away. I mean, even with Kiss, it's like they were super popular, but they weren't on the radio, you know. But I mean, I guess that was probably about as mainstream. Besides, I don't know, like. Well, I mean, hey, I still like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and you know, all those bands, but mainstream nowadays is certainly not the same. But I think probably getting into heavy metal, you know, at an early age, like 12, 13, when Unleashed in the East came out, you know, that was just like crazy. And that, you know, I was thinking the other day how, you know, obvious progression going from Kiss Alive to like Judas Priest Unleashed in the East, you know. It's like you look at that cover and you look at this cover, it's like, oh yeah, okay, it's like Kiss, but they're tougher. So and you know, I think just that stuff, I mean, you know, that was by the time I was getting into junior high school and stuff like that, and you know, the bigger rock bands to, you know, most of my peers would have been, you know, AC/DC, you know, or Def Leppard or the Scorpions. And, you know, I always thought that most of that stuff was I don't know, too light for me.
So were you into Roth Era Van Halen, or is that too late for you?
David Lee Roth era?
Yes.
Well, that was when I started. So actually I went and I saw them in the Diver Down tour. I think that would have been about 1980. Yeah. 81. And even then I was kind of like, oh, well, they're a little bubblegum. You know, but then a friend of mine called me up. He's like, hey, I got an extra ticket to Van Halen. You want to go? And I'm like, sure. And I was like, oh, they were great. You know, they were really good. You know, so the bubblegum stuff didn't bother me after that.
For me, it's all super confusing because if you dig into the Nirvana discography and you listen to the cover of Do You Love Me, at first, you know, listen, you go, okay, so they're making fun of Kiss. And then you realize over time, no, they weren't. It's just they're doing it the Nirvana way per se. So that's why it has been confusing to me of like, does Dale like this or not?
Well, I mean, they're an easy band to poke fun at, you know, but at the end of the day, I really like those guys, you know. And I mean, people always complain about Gene Simmons, you know, like being a jerk or whatever, but that guy has always been super nice to us, has gone out of his way to be nice to us. And the last time I saw him, which was at the Chris Cornell tribute concert in Los Angeles at the Forum.
Oh, the pop thing? Or is that the one that Patton did?
No. It was a tribute show. Patton was supposed to do it, but he didn't do it. But it was a tribute show, at the Forum in Los Angeles. And the ex-Soundgarden guys played with various different people. Metallica played, the Foo Fighters played, Miley Cyrus was there, and the Melvins played. Because, of course, we fit in with all that stuff. But Gene was there with his family, and I went up and said hi to him, and he's like, he brought me close and said, I love you. So, you know.
Yeah, I regularly defend Gene Simmons because the couple of in-person interview experiences I've had, the second that you stop the recorder, he becomes real Gene, and you go like, that is a warm human being that's playing a wrestling heel character publicly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So back to you and not the Kiss fan club meeting here. One of the things that I love about the Melvins, not just the music, is that you guys seem to get it about being a cottage industry or a niche kind of band earlier than just about everyone else did, where you kind of realize if we sell 20 or 30 or 40 or 50,000 records, we're going to be able to do, 150 shows in support of this, and we're going to do just fine. Almost like you're the NRBQ of metal. Is that a fair assessment, or do you hate it?
Yeah, I mean, well, we realized early on that our stuff was, was an acquired taste. And, we were playing music, that was aggressive, loud, obnoxious. And, of course, not everybody's going to like that. So just the fact that we got to keep doing and playing music the way that we do and signed to a major label deal. That's
yeah.
I mean, we were just kind of like, okay, even at the time that happened, we were able to go on tour and make money, you know, being on an independent label, being on Boner Records. We're able to go out and play shows and make money, and quit our day jobs. And then once the opportunity to sign to a major label came up, we're like, all right, okay, we know this is weird. You know, it's obviously the times, and people are interested in Nirvana and what's gonna be next. And you know, we should go into it not having any big expectations, but it'll, you know, we might be able to take advantage of the situation.
Right.
Which we were. I mean, we got to like sign to where we had a big enough budget to go record it, like, you know, one of the best recording studios in the world, and actually spend more than 4 days making the record.
Right.
So, and then, you know, it worked out great. We got to make 3 records on Atlantic, and we lasted longer than most of the people that were working there when we started, and even a lot of bands, you know.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Most bands don't make it 3 albums on a major label. The fact that you did and did not break up after that and persevered to major independent success, that just kind of speaks volumes.
I mean, yeah, we had a plan going into it, knowing that, okay, if this all fails, we can go back to doing how we did before, because like I said, we're already doing okay. But yeah, a lot of bands, they get that taste of like, you know, being on a major label and doing tours on buses and all that stuff. And once that fails, then they're done.
Right.
You know? They can't do it any other way. So
we're
more yeah.
NRBQ.
We're more like the car, yeah.
Of your respective genre, and also
me and the boys.
You and the boys. Is there plans for a follow-up, or are there plans for a follow-up to Rat-A-Tat, or was that just the last solo album for you?
No, I think I can do another one, hopefully. You know, and then the label too is really great. They're the ones that are always excited about me doing stuff and encourage me to do stuff. Yeah, I want to do another one eventually. You know, I guess I got to work on writing some songs.
It seems like the creativity comes easily to you because there's not as much concern of, say, does this have to be playable on the radio? Does this have to be a music video? Your music has always struck me as not one take per se, but this is how I feel. I'm going to put it to tape, next song. It's a very unperfectionist kind of process. Or do I have that totally wrong and there's more behind the story?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, well, even with the solo stuff, it's like a lot of times I'll go in with songs that aren't all the way finished, and I'll figure out a way to finish them in the studio. You know, or I'll get inspired by something while I'm recording it, and you know, that'll help me to finish it. Also, deadlines too. I'm really good at, you know, if I have a deadline and I have to get stuff done, then that's always better for me.
Cool. Well,
then I have to do it. You know?
The key
like taxes. You know, it's like tax time comes once a year. You gotta get it done before that one date. So, and you always end up doing it, right?
Fair. 2 quick questions, and then you're a free man, if you don't mind.
Sure.
First question I have: the band Ozma. Did they ever thank you for the name?
Oh, there's a band called Ozma.
Really? Oh, they might...
I probably knew that, but I mean, obviously we got it from Frank Oz. So, but yeah, they should, I guess.
I guess not. They
and the band
in the Weezer world, they started off as kind of a Weezer cover band, and then Weezer kind of brought them in, and of course Weezer's 1 degree from Kiss, kind of like you are. So I just figured it was a small world of them secretly being Melvins fans.
Well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, do you know anything about them getting the name from us? Because there's certainly a few bands. I mean, obviously there's like Boris, who got that name from us, and then there's yeah, I think there's a few others too. I'm trying to think. There's a band called Stag, and they and they said they got the name from us, so that's cool.
Cool. And the last question I have, which has nothing to do with Five-Legged Dog or Rat-A-Tat, it's: do you have a TV recommendation you could pass along to someone who needs a new show to start?
Ooh, gosh, I haven't. My wife is the one to ask on that, but let me think. Oh God, I don't know. But you know what? I did see that there's a new Curb Your Enthusiasm coming up in
Yes.
October, and I'm excited about that. So there's got to be something. What about the Paul McCartney 3-2-1? Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, Rick Rubin.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought he asked good questions, you know, and it was cool hearing breakdown of some of that stuff. So that's a good one if you're a Beatles fan, or even if you're not. You know?
Does that mean you're super excited for the 6-hour Peter Jackson Let It Be?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for that. I mean, yeah, any kind of new Beatles thing, I'm down with.
Well said. Dale, thank you for the many years of great music, and looking forward to that ultimate new soul album whenever it comes.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff coming down the pike soon. You know, we've got some plans. So
awesome. Thank you for your time, man. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. All right, you too. Take care.
Paltrocast.